Alright, let's jump into this Vertex AI conversation tutorial. The other night on live, I went in and created an AI chat agent from my website, just saying, hey, learn my website. A quick note before we get into this, I'm going to do this one just kind of full live, rocking and rolling. The other micro tutorials for kind of getting everything set up work pretty good, but we're going to do a hybrid. First things we got to know is, hey, what can we expect when we're getting into this? And, there's a couple little things that we want to make sure we decide on before you start building it, because you don't want to come back and have to reroute everything. But what we're going to do is we're going to go into Dialogflow CX. We're going to take a look at what we can do and where we can start getting some of those analytics. We'll go through the settings in this video to kind of give you an overview of what's going on. The two things we need to decide initially is, one, when somebody comes to your page, is that chat agent going to pop up automatically? And if it is, what is it going to say? And then two is we got to start thinking about what's called route groups. So we'll jump into both. Right now, we'll get into Agent Builder. Right now what I'm looking at is just my GCP home screen, so nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. What we're going to look for here is we are going to look for Agent Builder. I talked about it in the earlier video, but if this is your first video seeing this live, the search bar up here is going to be your best friend. Alright, so let's get into Agent Builder. That's what we're looking for now. It's previously called Vertex AI Conversation, Vertex AI Search and Conversation, which we'll get into Vertex AI Search next. That's a really good, if it's heavy, like for HR, for policies, or hazmat, or safety. So we'll get into that next. But this is old Hank. This is who we trained on our website last night. And we want Hank to be essentially, our customer service facing rep for BizRise.io. I want Hank to be on the landing page. Hank's got a ton of training on my website from thataido.com. We're going to use that to push traffic to the web app as well. But let's take a look at Hank. We got that data store last night. Let's go check on the data store, make sure it's indexed and everything's good there. And to be able to do this, make sure your Google or your website is indexed by Google ahead of time. That way, essentially it's just going to give permission for Google to come check out your website. Usage per quota, look at this, just 9 out of, how many is that, 1 million? It's a ton, right? You can put a lot of data into these agents that can become experts overnight, all right? But let's go take a look at Hank on the Dialogflow CX console. And then we'll make those decisions on what we want to do for either the intro message and then what we're going to start thinking about with flows, because that's something important to think about when you're going to start really structuring your agent. So in order to take this thing hybrid, first I'm going to want a welcome message. So hey, when this pops open, I want Hank to initiate the conversation, say, hey, welcome to BizRise.io, thanks for hanging out. My name's Hank. Here's what I can help you with. Here's what BizRise.io is all about. Just help customers when they come to the landing page, because something that is significantly important is having that landing page be ready to go. All right. So what does that mean? Now, there's not just like a hey, right open, like this default welcome intent in here isn't going to say something out of the gate. That's the first response. So that doesn't get it done. But what we can do is, if you come in here under Dialogflow, this is some of their docs on Google Cloud, Dialogflow CX. But what we're looking at under the text-based Dialogflow CS Messenger is the customizations right here. And what we're looking for is this right here called intent. Okay, it's a custom event that will be invoked. All right, when the dialog is open. So when it is opened, something's going to happen, right? It's going to have a custom intent. And we want to put this in the DF messenger tag, all right? So in the DF messenger tag in our HTML code, all right, we want to put intent that will create a custom event when it's opened. All right, so how do we do that? And this is the really good article that I found online for reference. But here's the answer for it. How do you get it done? Now, this might look like gibberish, but this is, I mean, step 1, step 2, step 3, the perfect description for what you need to do. These are all good to go on our code, and we'll get this code when we go to deploy it. I'll show you where to get that. We should probably go check that out right now because you're going to need it. Okay, so let's go save that, and then let's go check out where we can get that code. So if you come back into Dialogflow CX and you click Publish right here, draft, you can use that environment right now to get the code, and you can add a custom domain if you need to, but when you pop up that code, okay, this is a demo account, so make sure if you're doing this, you know, you're safer, but what, okay, you can just copy it. You can come in and your DF messenger tags right here, right there, intent, okay? And this with it looks pretty cool. I mean, come in code from and where you would put it in. All right. But we'll put intent, create a custom event. How do we do? Just click on the start page here. Let's do that. Create one. Right up top, we're going to use custom event. Select that. And we're just going to type the same thing. Welcome. Just like that. Okay. And then we got to make sure when it opens, the agent says something. All right. So welcome to bizrise.io. Welcome to bizrise.io. My name is Hank. Let me show you an AI-powered web developed small businesses. Let's do something a little more personal, so it's not just so computer sounding. AI powered, let's do this. AI powered education and optimization web app. I can show you our YouTube tutorials or show you what's inside on the bizrise.io dashboard. What can I assist you with? See, now we got to think about this too, because that's kind of an open question, right? And people might just dismiss that. So you have to be a little more direct with your questioning. Let's see, my name is Hank. Let me show you around the place, bizrise. Okay. Can I show you can I show you our YouTube video tutorials? Talking and typing. Tutorials, or would you like to check out our business dashboard? Okay, so ask them 1-2 question, more direct. Okay, we're gonna add that there. Always. That'll just give us a 1-2 and it'll give us a flow to get started. And then from there, I mean, we can branch off into as many different directions as we want to go. Always click this save button in here. So go ahead and click save. Right, now we have a default welcome intent. We have that welcome custom event down here. Now, I think, let's go ahead and see if we can delete this route out of there. And then we'll make sure this is always open. That way, when a user comes to the site, let's see, delete. I don't know if you can take that out and have that blank. Okay. Yeah, you cannot delete transition route. Okay. So the default welcome intent will at least keep out, let's see. We're going to delete all these. Okay. We'll get those out of there. We'll click save. Now so we want to come down to some routes. This is a big thing to focus on. I'm going to explain it. I'm going to save you a lot of time. So route groups right here. Okay, we have flow level route groups and agent level route groups. Flow level route groups are route groups within the parent. What does that mean? So let's say, Hank, we want to talk about BizRise.io, and we're talking about what is BizRise.io, what does it do, but over here is our marketing section. Well, within marketing and that flow, you're going to have social media, website, blog posts, and that means you can jump around inside of that flow. Basically means your user doesn't get stuck in a conversation. So you got to have a route, and we'll show you those routes out there too, but it just allows them to seamlessly kind of move around flows. Handy that way, and then the other way, the agent level route groups, this is the one I use primarily because you can pretty much go pull out a conversation in it, and if I'm in marketing right now, I'm in the social media flow. So if I'm down here, I said, oh man, I want to know about the BizRise.io YouTube videos for tutorials, it'll pull out of that marketing section and go straight to that BizRise.io tutorial flow. But you got to think too, are you going to have that agent stopping in between to kind of figure out where things are going? So initially, think about, it's kind of hard to determine at the end, but you got to think about, all right, how many places do we need to cover? Where people are going to need to bounce in and out, and then what's a good place to have them be able to transition within a flow? Maybe the customer service or benefits, stuff like that, with a bunch of different sections, and they need that individual. But then if they need to pull out, we'll show you, all right, what that flow, make sure they don't get stuck. So we'll show you, what really happens. Well, right here, no match default, no input default. So if they need to get out of there, we'll be able to spin them back around, and then we'll use some of the AI as a foundation from our website to be able to handle those no matches, no inputs. And this thing's also got the power of Gemini. So not only do you have your knowledge base, your website, your expertise, but you also got Gemini at your back, and then we can do a couple other things to really customize it and give it a foundation. So there's multiple ways to get this thing up high powered, but the main thing you want to do an intent for is to be able to have these analytics. There's nothing here because we got to build it into a hybrid, but by having this and having that agent pop out initially when people come to the site, we'll be able to see, all right, what are they asking about, what are they interested in, and that's real-time data that I can make decisions on right away. So that's the goal of this thing. And then not only, in the next section of this, I'll go over, what all this is, how it works, because there's a lot in this little app bubble. Especially in the settings. We're going to come in, we'll go through all these. These are definitely, just turn them on. Boom. We'll hook up a BigQuery data set, should do that. But initially when you come in here, we'll go through those settings. We'll turn those on right away. And we'll get you familiar with the dashboard, really all you can do with it. Enter band phrases like Tom Brady is the greatest QB of all time. Okay? I don't want my chat agent to say that. And it's, hey, that's just personal preference, but it's kind of funny. And it's a good way to say, hey, this is one way we can make sure, my chat agent isn't. But we'll come in there, we'll show people that. What else? Oh, the generative AI, yeah. Generative fallback. We'll create a new template. Kind of show what's. So this with your data store, this will give you some grounding. But with your data store, you can come in here and give your agent a name. So we'll say, Hank, and we'll go through all this. There's a ton of settings to get set up, but you got to kind of think about the end before we jump in here. What do you want it to do? Speech to text. There's a lot of stuff, but really initially getting started, multimodal. Yeah, this is crazy. You can put in different languages, Spanish, whatever you need. We'll go through some security stuff, but the main thing to think about initially is route groups. Hey, where are we gonna need this agent to be able to pull, from sales or marketing or HR, project management, social media, whatever it is. Like, I think I'm gonna need to build. I need a small business expert. I have that, so it's like, all right, if I have an end user asking about LLCs. And then they're like, oh man, what's a good time to post on TikTok today? It's going to have to be LLC conversations and route all the way over to TikTok times. So that's a good reason alone to just have agent level route groups. Now you got to go in and add them all the way around the horn, but it's a good way to kind of keep growing your agent day by day and just make sure everything's connected. So we'll get into that here in a sec and we'll go from there. But I wanted to give you an introduction really to, something worth thinking about ahead of time with a state handler, so agent level and flow level route. And then if you want your agent to pop out and say something, add that custom event there. So that way, you take out these intents, what the agent's going to say. And that way, when somebody comes to your website, you have it auto open and says, hey, my name's Hank. How can I help you? Here's a direct question. And it funnels them there. I'm going to head and end this recording because I'm going to take it to a Streamlabs podcast editor podcast. Take out all the blank spaces. But on the next one, it'll be like 5 minutes. We're just going to go into one, what is all this stuff on Dialogflow CX, because there's a ton of shit there. And then two, we're just going to go into start building Hank to be that customer service on the front page of the website. And he's going to have all the tutorials for, because you guys got to see this. I came today and I made, I don't know if they're still there. If not, I'll make new ones. But I made a ton of mobile tutorials for what is BizRise.io, and I was going to add all of those clips in there for YouTube videos, so when people come and talk to Hank, yeah, here they are. So I think I did this in a 46-minute live, but what is BizRise.io? Does it have a calendar widget? What's in the sales prospector? So when they ask about that stuff, not only can Hank give them a response, but he can also give them that YouTube video, just that quick little clip we created, so they can watch that, see what's going on, and then I'll get the intents, and I'll know, hey, if there's something missing too, if they need a different tutorial, they're asking questions, and I don't have that in there, I'll have that information real time. I can quick video, get it on my AI chat agent, before they'd probably have time to fill out a bad Google review. That's how quick this shit is. And then what's interesting about this too is those Vertex AI conversation agents. Let's see. We're going to show you that. Manage versions. Environments. Now we're going to create a version first. But when you create a new version in here, you got to understand these things are learning from every conversation. So we'll get into that too. But I mean, every time you even test it, every time you talk to it, that's considered essentially model training. So we'll get into really everything, and we're going to break it down step by step, but know these things ahead of time. This is just kind of an informational overview, but by creating content live, right, and making clips and being authentic, one, you're doing it to, hey, let's promote our brand, let's promote our product, but two, people can trust it because it's live. Three, you can use it for grounding for your conversational AI, and it can be the information you have. And three, you're going to use it to develop intents, entities. You're going to have YouTube videos to put in there. So people can have awesome responses. And I think, I'll just show you that right now. But like for example, on, we'll add those in. When we go into pages, like you can do fulfillment, let's say on that default welcome intent, if we need to, I don't know if we can do it in here. Yeah, I can, all right. Dialog option would be custom payload. We'll just put our YouTube video in here, and it's a pretty cool system that's fairly user-friendly to set up. It's very flexible, and the best thing about it is you get an absolute ton of real-time analytics. So that's, I think, where the horsepower comes in. Is not only are you learning what your customers are talking about, but your AI is also learning and improving on it. And then, hey, what do you do from there? Point Google in the right direction and go. So those are the first things to really think about before you get started. All right, am I going to have a welcome message pop open? Route group, state handlers, like, hey, how many different flows am I going to have? Where am I going to go? You got to kind of build it backwards, right? Think at the end and just build it all the way down to the smallest steps, okay? But you're going to use a lot of agent level route groups. This will make a lot more sense when we get into the next video, but wanted to give you a good overview of something to think about because I have built an entire agent with a ton of route groups and stuff. And then I was like, oh, I wanted to say something. And you have to reroute everything. It took way too long. So we're going to do it. We did it already, with the agent coming in here. But now we have that custom event. Life is good. And we can start going into hybrid. That was a little bit repetitive. I'm sorry. But I'm in this recording. We'll move on to the next one.